Hello, this is day 5 of the Green City Challenge, and today's topic is composting. Many of you on my blog said that you guys wanted to know more about it, and so that's why I'm here today, presenting you Composting 101 video. And I would like to introduce my assistant, aka my mom.
Hi there.
Yeah. So with that, let's get to the composting bin. Well, right here you see a couple holes. It's not because it's old or anything. I had these holes for a reason. It's to drain this fluid or water from the compost bin so the worms don't drown. And also, you know, that's why we have this tray here, just to collect all the water. Then I will go over this one right here. I have holes here to keep air ventilation through the, compost bin, and yeah.
So you previously mentioned that this is a compost bin. From the looks of it, it sort of looks like your average storage container. Is that what this is? And then you made it into a compost bin?
Yeah. Actually, this is not official compost bin. So it's really easy to make. It's cheaper than official compost bin, and it works the same. You know, you don't need a fancy compost bin to compost. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I actually didn't have this idea. I didn't make this idea. It was all about, this girl named, what's her name? Amber, yeah. From urbanwormgirl.com. She recommended that I make my own compost bin, and she gave me steps on how to make one.
And this looks like just the average bin that you can purchase at Target or Kmart or something like that. And I think these run about, what, $7 to $10 or so?
Yeah. Like official compost bins are like $40 to $300, so that's a really
right. So
downsize.
this seems a little more cost efficient.
Yeah, it's cost, effective.
Okay.
Yeah. So next material I would like to go over is the bedding. Well, right here, the bedding is what you put down here. Mm-hmm. I recommend wet, like not fully like soaking newspaper, but like damp newspaper, like not too wet, or else the worms will drown. But just like damp newspaper you put on the bottom, and yeah.
So all bedding is just like basic newspaper that I can pick up at the local store?
No, actually, there's a website that says all the bedding. I'm just recommending newspaper. Just you can look up on Google or anything, bedding for composting, and it'll have a list of them. I'm obviously not gonna, go through all of them here, but I'm just recommending newspaper. It's easy to find, and it works really well. The other bedding you could just mix in with here too, if you don't have enough newspaper.
Mm-hmm. Just a question: how much bedding, these 1-inch strips, do I need for a bin about this size?
It depends. Like I think you'll just need like one average newspaper.
Okay.
Just cut them all, and if the bin seems like overflowing, then you just stop. It just depends.
And is this the size that you recommend for your basic compost?
Yeah, for basic composting, like if you get more advanced, we're just starting now. Just want to show you guys because we're new to this too, and just want to spread the word. But I'm not gonna get a really big bin yet because I'm not sure, how to handle all that. So you just start off with a little bin, and then you gradually work your way up as the worms get bigger. The worms actually multiply by themselves. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
So back to the bedding. How would I lay out the bedding and with that process? Because we have some wet bedding here. Should we just dump it in there?
Just crumple it up or something like that. But yeah. After you put the bedding in, you go to the.
Put it in.
Yeah, you just put them right there. Yeah. Yeah, just spread it out. You know.
And this is just a little damp here, right?
Yeah.
Not too wet.
Not too wet. You know, not too dry. It keeps the soil moist. So what I was gonna show is after you do the bedding and all, obviously worms don't want to live in just newspaper. So then you just go on to your soil. The soil is actually just, you know, your average soil. It's not potting soil. You could find this everywhere. I would recommend topsoil because it's recommended for composting. So
soil with no fertilizer or anything like that.
yeah, just your average soil, no fertilizers. Fertilizers actually really hurt the worms.
Put it in.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, so this much soil in a bin that size. Okay, I think that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Can you help with that?
Just dump it in, right?
Yeah, just dump it in. It can't be like too, you know, what you call it, filled up.
So you want all of this in there?
Yeah. And then we'll just crush it later, you know, so it doesn't have those big blocks. But that's pretty good.
Okay.
You know, bedding's all wet and everything will keep it there. So with this raking tool, like once you feed the worms and everything, you could just rake through and like dig through the, you know, soil and whatever. So yeah.
So you want to get it nice and broken up, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes they recommend that you just wet the soil a little bit to keep it, you know, moist for the worms. Yeah.
Okay. So after I get all of the soil broken up, what else do we do?
Well, we're almost finished right now. I believe we are ready to put the worms in. So, yeah. We'll just break it up later, you know.
Okay.
It's time to put the worms in.
Ah, the finale.
See the worms?
And what kind of worms are those?
Those are red wigglers.
Red
Where-
wigglers.
You could only get red worms and red wigglers for composting.
Where
Just
can
those.
I find worms like these for my compost bin?
For your compost bin, like Petco, you know,
Like bait shops and things
Yeah,
like
bait
that
shops.
for fishing?
I would recommend like half a pound, but right now we're just starting to see how it works. So we just got like 110. So like 2 of these buckets, like 1/4 of a pound. So yeah. So look at they like it, you know. They're gonna multiply soon, so you could buy little, but they're just gonna multiply with each other or whatever. So we just want to
So-
start off small.
So start off with about 100 worms if I'm just starting off, and then these worms will multiply in a few weeks or so?
Yeah,
Okay, in size and population.
yeah. So after you got all your materials ready and stuff, then after a while you just start feeding them. Right now I would just recommend like half of this since we are just starting off. But as they grow bigger and you see that the population has grown, you just increase the amount of food they need. And if they keep on growing bigger and more population, you just change the amount of compost they do.
And what are you feeding them today?
I'm actually feeding them rotten peppers, like anything that, you know, will seem useless to you could be, you know, like, good for them. So you just like feed them half of this, you know, and they actually eat this all.
And can I feed them anything like large pieces of bread or, you know,
You actually
greasy
don't want,
food, or do they want just vegetables and scraps and things like that?
Well, you don't want them to have greasy food or carbohydrates at all.
At all, or not?
Well, not
too
not at all, but you don't want too much carbohydrates. But you don't want greasy food at all. You know how greasy food could clog our arteries, you know? Same thing with them. They could get really sick off greasy foods. And it's also not good for the compost bin either. So I would just, recommend, rotten vegetables or fruit that you haven't used. Pretty much anything could be composted. There's actually a website that shows a full list of composting materials. So yeah.
And how do you know when they've eaten everything?
You actually rake through it with the rake. You rake
being
through
that
it.
there's a clear bin, you can probably see when the food is gone, or
Yeah,
you could rake through.
You could also rake through it. You could also put the light on them and they'll move to one side.